3, 2, 1. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Hopefully you can all hear me. So, sorry, GS, I'm here now. I'm here. I was actually setting up something else in the background for us to mess with. Hopefully you can all hear me properly. Just let me know you can hear and see and all that sort of stuff. It looks good on my screen. Everything seems to be normal. Yes, CPU's at 41%. Yeah, we're grand. No drop frames, so it should be okay. We're good. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Second stream in a row. Not streaming tomorrow. Going to put out a video tomorrow. And then on Friday I'm going to take a day of not putting out any content, I don't think. Saturday there won't be any content either, other than just kind of being here. And then Sunday will be the Sunday service. And this week we're going to have a guest on. We've been playing and testing and messing. So this Sunday, the Sunday service is going to be quite a big Sunday service. We're going to have Marek Drives on our Skype calls. And he's going to stick around for the 2 hours. And I'm starting to invite other guests to be on the Sunday service as well. So I'm lining up some kind of larger guests as well. But it takes a bit of negotiation. To talk to people and convince them that it's okay to come on Sunday, so no one's going to die like if you come on. And I thought I want to do today is the Wednesday want, right? So this is the cars I find or you find, and we'll link and try and show on the screen. So I'm going to try an experiment, which is to show my screen through OBS. So hang on a second, here we go. There you are. That's what I'm looking at, which is on Cars Ireland at the moment. A Mazda 1993 Mazda MX-5 hardtop cabrio, and it's an auto, €1,250 with 159,000 kilometers and a 1.6 engine. And that thing would essentially cost you nothing. You'll have a lot of work to do, because in there you can see all the rubbish inside it, which it looks absolutely dire, lads. If you're going to take a picture, for God's sake, take some pictures that look good. And there's most of the engine in the boot. That's probably not a good place for it. But that would be the phenomenal, if you think about it, like a project car. You'd never have a project like that before. The whole engine has to be put back together. So that's just missing this head. The head of the engine, as far as I can see, is in the boot there. So that's just missing the head on this side and a few other bits and pieces. But other than that, it looks pretty good to me, if I'm honest. I'll just flick back to the normal screen. Hold on a second. Where were we? Go back in. I have to go to millions of screens through that, but it's good crack. So, that's pretty cool. I can share the screen at that and I can show you different things on it. There's only going to be a few people on today. I know it's a Wednesday. The sun is shining. It's fine. And I actually did some planing on a door this morning because I need to get a door fitted to a door frame, which is pretty good. I'm going to try and find another car now to show you for the crack. That Mazda's gorgeous though. I really like that yoke. I actually have a soft spot for this as well. I'll show you this. These are the classic car section of Cars Ireland is where I am today. Now, I'm not biased. I'll go to wherever, but it's just they've got quite a good little Cars Ireland part of the website. So, let's have a look at this one and just flick back into Studio and go screen share again and then show you what I see, which is this. A 1989 Toyota Corolla 1300cc. So that's a 1.3 Corolla. I actually owned one of these cars once upon a time. Annual road tax 56 because it's a classic car. You see, it's an 89 before that 1990 point, but it's an English reg car. This one, you can see it has standard everything. So everything on this car is as normal, and actually it's quite clean and tidy looking on the outside. Anyway, particularly the inside looks pretty good. Now the big drawback is this is an automatic. You can see it in that little picture out there. There's an auto box in it, and that would drive ye insane. I think that's only it's a 4-speed automatic, but it's a Japanese one, and it's awful. It is an awful gearbox, but very easy car to work on. Price of $3,950 now is saucy enough, I have to say. For an 89, I would be closer to $2,950 maybe if you were lucky on a good day. If you caught me nicely, like. I'll go back to the other screen. Hold on a second. It's quite hard flicking through these screens and things, which is pretty interesting all the same. The new studio is working out very well. Who is you, says Aidan. I am Bob Flavin, motoring journalist, supremo of the entire world. Thank you very much for joining. There's a lot of viewers, not many commenters today. So if you got a want, can you find a want online that you like the look of? Because that's one of mine. I quite like that Corolla now. I prefer to see a 5-speed manual, but the Corolla is actually okay. Here's another one I'll show you as well for the fun of it. This one is a Volkswagen Polo 1 litre. It's a 1991, but it has an NCT from 2019. So I imagine NCT will probably last into 2020. It's a 1 litre petrol. That's the simplest, easiest engine you've ever worked on. You're looking for $2,000, which again is a bit saucy for a 91, no matter the condition. But the interior in this one is actually quite nice. So it's it looks like this on the inside. It's got a proper, everything's clean. You can see everything's very tidy. It's got its original tape deck. This is all very important stuff when you're actually going to buy a classic car. I wouldn't want to see a Sony head unit in there. It will put me off because I'm just going to have to find the original one. If you're going to put in a modern radio into one of these cars, you put it into places like the glove box. You leave the original where it is and you hook up the stereo speakers into the stereo in the glove box rather than disturbing the dashboard. The same applies for that gearbox and everything. It's all down low. Very easy car to work on. If you're looking for a project car, and this wouldn't have much to do to this, but if you're looking for something to bring around to the classic car shows or just drive into places or have a bit of fun out one day, this would be the kind of car that's very good for you. You can see here, looking down along the list as well, it says refuse finance or bad credit rating. We can help you finance agents on God Almighty. Is that what we've come to? What dealership is this? Cars Online Complex, John Kennedy Road. I don't know them at all, but if you can get that sort of stuff done as well. Now here's a car that I saw earlier on as well. Triumph Acclaim. My brother actually had one of these when I was a kid. These are lovely cars. Triumph Acclaim is lovely. Look at that engine. Look how easy that is to look after. So you got an air filter there on the top, and you have the heads underneath that. Batteries over to this side, and on the far side is the water. So you probably carburetors and that thing there somewhere too, I'm sure. But look at the interior, velour or possibly Vulgalore. In the background of that picture, there is a yellow Chevy truck van that really attracts my attention. That's very nice, that van. But it looks like Vulgalore interior, which is a weird stuff. Dry in the boot, which is what he's showing you there. You can see a Lookers sticker on the back window. This is probably a UK import, this car. And the interior, now that's rough enough. That'd be rough enough. That's been driven, that car. It's been well driven. I don't see a tape deck and I don't see anything useful in it. It's a weird old machine, isn't it? That'll be sketchy enough. You want to be checking the history on that one. Sketchy enough now. And that's from your own classic car. That doesn't fill me full of hope, I have to say. Right, we just flick back into home screen and see what's happening on the world of you guys. Oh, there's a few years here all the same. Fairness. 2 days in a row, Bob. Great stuff, says Niall McHugh. No problem at all. Now, the intention here is to go, maybe take the next couple of days and put out just a video. And then on the Sunday service, we're going to have Marek Drives is coming on the Sunday service with me. We did an experiment stream last night, the two of us. He's in Poland, I'm over here, but we're going to try and do a stream on Sunday for the Sunday service. We're going to stick around, answer all of your questions. So get together some questions, whether they be in Polish or they're in English. You can ask the questions as he speaks both languages. I don't speak any other languages other than tomfoolery. Cormac, I love the K11 Micra Haynes manual on the shelf, Bob. That is true. There's a K11 one there, and there's actually the younger one as well. There's the older Micras up there as well, because we had both. And in the middle of that, Toyota Carina. I had a Toyota Carina. I got a Haynes manual for it. Loved it. Is the car deemed a classic after 30 years? No, not anymore. Not the way it used to be. So what used to happen was you went into the classic tax and insurance after 30 years, but they cut it off. And I think it's 89 now, or is it 80? 1980 or something? Because modern cars, like that little Polo, that would be fine to go around the clock and you're paying next to nothing on tax or whatever. So I think that's the problem with it. They were after messing around with that classic car yokes, which is kind of weird. They call us Polo Coupe in the UK. They were called a hearse, like over here. In fairness, they're a nice car though, not a bad yoke. A bit tinny here and there, but they were very economical. Very economical. Stephen Cleary says, very, very close to pulling the trigger on buying a long-range Tesla Model 3. Are they really as good as I'm hearing? Yes and no, Stephen, to being dead honest with you. They're very, very good and probably the best of electric cars. So if you're looking to buy an electric car and you really want something that's good and will give you the kind of response you're looking for, Model 3 is going to be lovely. A bit of a changeover to get used to that screen in the centre, but you've not very long. You'll get the hang of that and you'll get used to seeing the speedo there. So if you're in the market for an electric car and you're looking to spend that sort of money, then the Model 3 is probably the best of them. And particularly the Tesla network is brilliant. The superchargers where you want them, and it charges from basically anything, and it's very straightforward. The things I don't really like are the over-the-air updates. Whether you want them or not, you're going to get them. I don't really like the privacy issues we have with the Sentry system that's on it. It uploads all of your footage to the Tesla servers, and you don't know where that's going after that. And so there's a couple of downsides to having that Tesla network part of it. Now, there is other cars in that price range that aren't electric that are better to drive. That's one way of looking at it, because Tesla's kind of weird. They're a computer company that makes cars, a kind of a tech company that makes cars, so they're not very good at making a driver's unit of a car, but generally speaking they're not that bad. Frank Metcalf, good man, Frank is here. Hi Bob, are you hearing confessions today? I certainly am, and yesterday. And we have a sponsor as well for today, which is clearwater.ie. We've had them as a sponsor before. Lovely John has come on and decided to sponsor again for another few videos. He likes what we do here, you know. And he's one of the brilliant supporters of this channel for a long time. So I'd appreciate if you click the link down below to take you to clearwater.ie or pass the word on. It's a commercial system thing, so if it's not for home, but pass the word on if you can. It'd be brilliant. TS says, would love some premises with a few old cars used occasionally, just like the YouTuber Hubnut. Have you heard of him, Bob? Would you have a few yourself? What do you have? I have heard of Hubnut. I don't really watch other YouTubers because a lot of them frustrate me. You know, like Shmee, any YouTuber that can sit back and decide what colour their McLaren something or other is going to be when they buy it or lease it or whatever, there's just something wrong there. That's not a car reviewer. That's just someone with too much money, you know. And a bit like Chris Harris or whatever, they come from, it's wealthy people telling you what car you'll never own. You know, essentially, it's like this kind of ticking a box thing that they go along going, I'm better than everybody because I get access to these cars. I prefer to kind of look at people who just review ordinary cars or even second-hand cars. Some of the really good guys that are out there that just Doug DeMuro, right? He's done a deal in a very clever way where he's reviewing leased cars you can lease and own and buy and stuff. And that's pretty clever. I like that sort of stuff because he just says whatever's on his mind. His videos are a little bit hard to watch, but you know, they're okay. Did anyone ever have a steering mirrors Corgi Triumph Acclaim as a kid? I certainly did. I did. I had, I would say, about a little over 1,000 Matchbox cars, and then I had other ones, Corgi cars, and a few other ones as well. So they're all gone, but I had them when I was a kid, and I played them every bloody day. It drive people mental. Just carried them around in a bag. John Kenny says, playing a blinder as usual. Keep up the good work. Operation stay put. We're all staying in house. Stay home. I actually tweeted a picture earlier on of me. There's a lovely Garda here in the town. We took a picture together, and it's a famous picture now because the guards show it as well, and they show it to each other because the guy in it he's close to 6'5", 6'6", 6'6". I'm 6'1". I mean, he makes me look small, but he put handcuffs on me and everything up at a show one day, and I paraded around as if I was being arrested. It was great crack. Jim the bus driver's in the house, keeping a lockdown going. Busy, well done, thanks. Mark H. Hi Mark H. Joe Lyons. The iPad kid is here as well. Marty O says, seen the other day some guys in Argentina found an old abandoned Fiat garage with loads of cars in it. I saw it too, yeah. Unos and the like, delivery miles and all them. Would love something like that. I bet you know what, up around Milan. No. Yeah, Milan. Up around Milan. I bet you there's garages there absolutely jam-packed full of Fiat. Because that's what they used to make the Fiats. Joe Lyons says, house done. Funny Ferrari interviews yet to publish from that last few weeks, Bob. Just a Passat outside the door, really. I can't think of anything else that I've missed out on, but I'll root through. I'm pretty good at keeping all the stuff on file in the filing cabinet. All the stuff that I want is there, so I'll have a root through today, but there will be just a video out tomorrow rather than a live shot tomorrow, so we'll do that. 10,000 other feckin' jobs the wife had for me done. I did loads of jobs as well. I have to say, everything in the house works. I fixed my big computer as well. It's not good for streaming, but I fixed my big computer. And I planed the door. Did that this morning. We mowed the garden. We've cleaned all the windows. The house is spick and span, like. We've literally cleaned everything. I get bored so easy. It only takes a few minutes before I'll freak out if I have nothing to do. So I find it very, very hard to relax. I have to focus on relaxing. It's like a job. Jonathan Kelly is here. I have a 1959 Triumph TR3A that's about to come out of winter hibernation. Send me pictures. I want to see that. I have a real thing about the TR3As. And that Triumph, that year of Triumph, is where that, I know they're not terribly reliable, but where British cars were made in sheds by men in trousers and shirts, and they took their tie. You know, it was made at a time where it was like the cutting edge after the Second World War was over, and money was starting to flow again. So it was a really good time. Is there a car you regret not buying when you had a chance? No, I don't really buy a lot of cars. I've always owned a car, but I don't actually buy a lot of stuff over time. I do regret selling the Carina. I had a 1997 Carina that I used to service myself and minded and watched, and everybody thought it was a taxi. But I sold that to buy the Leon, and the mistake I made was we held on to a Micra that my wife was driving, a 99 Micra from that Haynes manual. And we sold the Carina. Now, I should have done the other way around. I should have held on to the Carina and sold the Micra at the time, because my wife didn't drive the Micra much anymore because she drove the Leon and so on. But I should have held on to that Carina. It's actually still on the road. The guy I sold it to was so happy with it. He's held on to it since. 14 years he's got it now. So he still has it. He's an older kind of guy, and I had it serviced to the last. Everything that car needed, it got. Every coat of paint, every clay bar, did the whole show. It looked like a show car. I bought it, I think it was when did I buy it? 2001, probably 2001, 2002 I bought it. It was 97 at the time. Bought it Fitzpatrick's in Kildare. Up Boss is Hellhound. Good man. Richard Fitton Perkins says, afternoon, Jonathan. Thanks. Who's Jonathan? John Kenny says, how do you rate the Kia e-Soul? See, that's the second car in the electric range that I would say, if you can't afford the Model 3, the Kia e-Soul fits the mark perfectly. Really good infotainment system, really good range on it. It's quite comfortable, it's quite tall, it feels like a small SUV, so if you've got hip problems or back problems, quite easy to get in and out of at that point. The boot's quite a sizable yoke. The e-Niro looks a bit more like an ordinary car, I suppose, than this e-Soul. If you in white, the e-Soul looks like a stormtrooper's helmet or something. It's quite cool, I think. But definitely one of the nicest electric cars you can get. Hello, Bob says, Ash Kumar, I can give you $10,000, or is that $100,000? Fire away. There's a link down there for PayPal. See that one? Click that and submit your $10,000 there. Sort it, no problem. If you've got that kind of spare cash hanging around, send it my way. Hubnut owns and reviews old cars like normal people like me. You could afford, Bob. Really? Right. I'm going to check out Hubnut at the end of this. See, I don't really subscribe to a lot of car places. The main reason I don't subscribe to car places is because if they'll jade my idea of what I think of a car, that can be difficult. Johnny Dub says, story Bob, car polished, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. Good stuff. That's good. That you have achieved on your way down there. Bob, did you ever own a Mini? I did years ago. Owned it was around 88, I think the Mini was. The right 88, 89. The Mini was. I wasn't. I was too young to try that. But it was, yeah, about 88. I think it was an 88 Mini. Just a bog standard Mini yoke. I hated it, but I loved doing handbrake turns in it. I broke the handbrake actually twice doing the handbrake turns in it. So a young lad just got to the car park. It was a brilliant car for doing handbrake turns, but I crashed it, and then it blew up as well. I mean, they blew the head gasket off one evening trying to fix it. Just a dishwasher left. Marty O had to remind me of the only thing that's still broken in the house is the dishwasher. It actually works, just doesn't heat up. If I bought the heating element, I suppose it would sort it out, wouldn't it? Anyway, I'll figure it out. Stephen had a TR6. TR6 is a gorgeous car now, in fairness to it. Jim Dunn says, Garda now have emergency powers to impose heavy fines, even prison sentences for unauthorised journeys. Yeah, strange world at the moment. Tell you what the strangest world is. You know the way they said that there's a sunset clause to this, so when the emergency ends, we'll take it off. The strange part is we won't be ending this emergency for maybe 2 years. I don't think so. I think we'll peak, and then we'll settle into a bit of a longer stint of having this coronavirus while we all kind of get back to work in a sort of distant way. And then in a couple of years' time, a vaccine will arrive or something will arrive, and we'll all start to get back to normal. But only then will this power of being able to just send you home at will by the Garda that's been granted them will have to be amended, because it completely contravenes any freedom you might have in the whole world. It's crazy. I think it was a crazy thing to enforce without saying it's only going to last for 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Instead, they put this sunset clause to say when we've stopped the emergency about coronavirus, then it goes away. But that could be years away. See if you're all still happy sitting at home in 6 months' time. See, I work from home. I've always worked from home. I do my editing. The only time I go out to work is if I'm working for someone else filming their stuff, making a film with somebody else, so I have to go and meet a camera crew somewhere, or I'm filming the cars that are here, which I film out in the Heath, which is, I don't know, 4 or 5, no, maybe a bit longer, but maybe 10k from here. So I can go out anyway. It's all I want. Dave Hall, good afternoon, Bob. Cleaning, hold on a second, cleaning my windows, and guess what I do for a living? Yes, you got me. I'm a window cleaner. Which my old TR6 window cleaner. You know what's gas? Most people, like window cleaners, probably have the dirtiest windows ever. Builders have houses that are half finished. Car dealers don't really own their own car. They have a car that's in pieces on the floor somewhere. It's funny how the people who work at the thing that they love, they do it, but yet they never actually do it for themselves. They do it for everybody else all day long, but they won't do it for themselves. Lee Moore says, sold my 13cc a few weeks back, and I don't know what to buy now. Looking for something petrol and easy to live with, fuel-wise, but fun to drive. Leaning towards GTE Golf. Any other suggestions? There isn't really, you know. If you want something that really does actually drive, GTE Golf is the only real way to go. Especially if you're conscious of electrification or hybrids or any of that sort of stuff. Then you there's nowhere really else to look, because there's nothing else unless you go very new with a 3 Series, you know, a PHEV version of it. But then they're not really driver's cars either. They're kind of compromised in their own little way. Nikos Testerosas. Hi, Bob. Look at your name again. Looking to buy a daily driver, a hot hatch, please. PU in order, but at least GTI Megane RS, Focus ST, and i30N. Thanks, stay safe. Nikos, I would that list you're looking at there, I would look at the i30N quite carefully. But after I was in the i30N for 20 minutes, I'd go and drive a Focus ST. Because there's something a little bit more raw about the Focus ST over the i30N. i30N is a brilliant car to drive, great crack, but it's 4-wheel drive. And so it does eat fuel as a daily driver. So Focus ST is not, it will give a great experience, bit of fun. The new Golf GTI that's on the way looks a little weird for me, I have to say. The Focus ST would be a nicer drive than that one. Have a look at the Seat Cupra Ateca Cooper one, that thing. That's really good. That's good crack, and you really can drive that every day, and it just looks deadly, and it handles pretty well. Something completely off the wall. Megane RS, I haven't driven the current one, the newest one of that bunch. They've been good throughout the years, but they've always had electrical problems, or they've always had long-term reliability of a performance car is always going to be an issue for all the brands, not just Renault particularly, but Renault do have problems with electrical things. The interior wouldn't be up to the standard of the Ford Focus ST or even the i30N, so it'll outperform both of them. The last one I was trying to list is Seat Leon Cupra, the newer one. Is it the R or something? In an estate form. Looks phenomenal. Absolutely gorgeous car. Great to drive as well. Craig Furley, hi Bob. VW Tiguan, 2-litre Tiguan, 2-litre TDI, 150 horsepower. What's the thoughts? That's a good engine. Solid, reliable. Same engine I have outside the door here in a Passat. Thing will do probably the thick end of 1,000 kilometers on a tank of fuel. If you get it in DSG, it'll be gorgeous to drive forever. Get it in manual, you're going to have a light enough clutch that you can use it every day, and it'll go further on that fuel. So pretty good. If you're buying second hand, look out for the back suspension systems. They can become a little bit soft on one side or the other. They won't both become soft. It'll be one side or the other. It was a part of a recall that it did, but it didn't actually fix it properly. But it seems to be pretty common in ones that are coming from like 14, 15, somewhere around there. Don't know why that is. Nothing's leaking. It just seems to get softer for some reason. But you could check out those ones. But other than that, Tiguan is totally solid. Lovely car to drive and very unusual. If you get in 4-wheel drive, it'll go literally anywhere. Gavin 1306. Hi Bob, have you ever decided to check out High Peak Autos? I am a subscriber of High Peak Autos, yes. The guy's name is Matt, mainly second-hand cars, really good at honest reviews. I will be asking some car reviewers to come on the Sunday service and do talks after this Sunday with Marek. As a return favour for Marek, I'm going on his channel as well. So you can tune in for both our connectors, both our talks together on this Sunday on my channel, and I think the week after that on his. Alison Stevenson Music. What music do you make, Alison? My car is a Peugeot 205, good car. It's white and rust. I like it. That is a good colour. I took it to the garage for an oil change, and they advised me to keep the oil and change the car. That sounds like a good laugh, alright, yeah. A lot of older Peugeots would go that direction. A lot of older, any car will go that direction. But once water gets under a crack in the paintwork at all, forget about it. Rust up city straight away. Martin Cleary, what? Sunday already? Sugar, I've missed mass. I'm buying a new car on hold. Still looking though. It's not Sunday yet, it's only Wednesday. It's a long way to go to Sunday yet, lads. But Sunday should be entertaining. I think we've set up everything on this computer to be able to do the dual. We'll both be on screen at the same time, talking and chatting and doing all sort of stuff. So get your questions ready for Marek Drives. Marek's a good guy. He's helped my channel for longer than anyone. He's done more help, I suppose. As big as his channel is, he's always come and helped mine. Always commenting here and there, and getting people to come along. It's a tough old place. YouTube is a lonely spot for, if your brain isn't strong, YouTube can really get you down very quickly. I've seen channels over the last couple of days where I've been working on streaming stuff and streaming software and all sort of thing. I've seen channels and they're 8-9 years old and they've got like 1,000 subscribers, and the guy is still uploading every day and everything. It's a hard place to work, Used to drive Peugeot 205 GTI, says Marty O. I love those cars, absolutely gorgeous. Is there any on Peugeot 205? Let's see if I can find anything on Cars Ireland. I don't think I will though, somehow. Where's the search? My god, it's so hard to search on this bloody... Why is everything so hard to search on these days? It used to be just straightforward, just typed in what you were looking for and that was the end of it. We want a Peugeot. There we go. Hang on, I tell you what, I'll flick over and let you guys see how I'm searching right now. Screen share. Bunk. So Peugeot's here, any model. I don't think I'm going to find this. We're going to see 205. Oh, there's one. Look, there's one 205. Just go search used cars. What is it? Oh my god, look, there's a Peugeot 205 GTI. 8,950 is crazy money for it, but yes, it is there. A petrol 1.6, shame it's not a 1.8, but 1.6. Last update 2 minutes ago. Lads, it just went up. Somebody put up that on purpose. That is, there she is, look there. Oh, that is hot, isn't it? Look at those wheels, teledials, they look gorgeous. Absolutely phenomenal. I notice a good tick to keep an eye out when you're buying a car is, you notice the front number says Woodland Motor over the front. It's probably a UK import, doesn't have an Irish reg on it yet, so you can't check the history yourself, that's tricky. Also, he's taking pictures of the engine far away from the engine, so I can't see if there's any oil leaks or anything, but you can see it's pretty well contained. That is a gorgeous car. What's to say about it? Nothing. Trade-in welcomes, tailor-made finance, blah, 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 blah. About the car. Nothing going to say anything about the car, no. 203,000 kilometers since 1990. 8,950 is saucy money. That is saucy now. That's pretty high. It's a good car, but with that kind of mileage on a French 1.6 engine, I would suggest you're going to need a gearbox in the near future before the time is up. Now, weird how we're looking for one that came up straight away. Go back to the home screen. Thank you. And what do you all think of that one? Joe Lyons says my first family car was an imp. An imp? How do you even get into it? Did you ever see? I can't fold into an imp. I just can't fit. My head sticks out over the top of it. Anyway, my dad bought it from a lady in Dalkey. He never drove it till he picked up one of the neighbours. Just wheeled out one of their garage. Simple car, but it is a very simple car. Derek Norris says hit the like button, lads. You're dead right there, Derek. Derek Norris, you have been here all along, and I'm going to make you a moderator. Derek Norris is now a moderator. Now, there you go. Enjoy that, Power Derek. Show that. You can wield the ban hammer like Andy McAfee does. Andy's working at the same time, so I need to have, for this Sunday particularly, I need to have people on the ball for because it's going to be a very busy Sunday on the Sunday service this Sunday, because every week has built up more and more views. Looking to change my Civic FK2 for something more sensible, considering a BMW 640 diesel. You won't find any, Phil. There's so many gone now. All the 640s have been gobbled up. The amount of emails I get, I would say per month I get at least 15 emails about my love of the 640D and the fact that they can't get any more. 435D X-Drive M Sport around 2017-18. Your thoughts? You're going to get stuck to go for the 435, because the 640 is going to be very hard to find a decent one in any sort of good shape that hasn't got like 60,000 million miles on it. If you can find one, I'd buy the 640 Grand Coupe, by the way. Don't buy the standard 640D. Suspension is completely different in the two of them, and the handling is totally all over the place. The 640 standard. 435 on its own drives much better. The X-Drive, I'm not a big fan of X-Drive. I think rear wheel drive is better, but X-Drive is good. It's very safe. It's very predictable. But standard rear wheel drive is more kind of ridiculously mad. Martin, clearly looking at your backdrop, I would guess the wife is throwing you out of the kitchen back to the little cubby hole. No, it's a spare room upstairs. Just a spare room full of stuff that I have for filming, and there's camera gear, and there's old pictures and things about Braveheart and stuff on the wall. It was just a kind of spare room, but it filled up with crap. And because of the lockdown, I was able to clear it all out. Look, see, Braveheart stuff. That's what I'm talking about. Things that kept, or things. Well, I only found out after I was in Braveheart that my mother was actually keeping a scrapbook of everything I was in, like all the papers and all the stuff that we were in. I'm in the background of that shop, by the way, so you can't see it there. And like we're in OK magazine and all that sort of stuff, so I was in that. My mother was keeping all that stuff. I didn't realise that till she passed away nearly, and I found that scrapbook. I didn't realise she had it all. Footy Ferrari, remember the Chrysler Delta, Bob? Watched your review from many years ago. You said you'd buy it, but only if you could rebadge it as a Lancia. Yeah, I have a thing about the Chrysler brand and robbing the Lancias to bring them over here. I think Lancia stands on its own. It's an underrated car, Lancias, over the years. Never got the funding it went. Was only ever popular in Italy, and everywhere else was called Chrysler. It's dead. Like Lancia's walking dead. Chrysler's a walking dead as well. Fiat's more or less gone through the tubes as well. They're going to take Alfa Romeo with them. The Ferrari connection is always going to be a problem for them as well. Just so much crap that has gone on in Italian business. It's hard to predict it. Lee Maher, Bob, is there anywhere to get a registration plate at the moment? I lost mine, and can I drive the car now? Do you know what? I don't think there is. I don't, unless you can do it online in somewhere like Mixed Garage or something where they might make it up for you. But I think you need to present your ownership documents. So I don't think there is. If you've only lost one out of two, yes, you should be okay with that. You should be able to get around. But if you've lost both of them, obviously it's a big problem. But if you've lost one of the two, it should be okay. The guards, you're required by law to have a license plate on the car front and rear visible at all times and done to a certain font. But in times of emergency, you're allowed handwrite one or something, put in the window. So you can do that as well. Write it on an A4 page, put it in the front window. If the front one's missing, as long as you got a good one on the back, you should be okay. TS, what kind of cars did your granddads own? Did they have a favourite brand? My dad's father always owned a Renault, like 16. Yeah, my father made the influence on me. My grandfathers on both sides, I think, were dead before I was born. I think maybe both dead, yeah. They weren't drivers. Neither of those people had cars, my grandfathers. My father now, a different story. My mother entered a competition with Daz, Marty Whelan, who's still on the telly, was the guy who used to go on to, he'd knock on your door, and it was an ad on TV, you're washing your clothes with Daz, which is a washing up liquid. My mother was buying Daz, and she kept coupons, and on the coupons you could win a Ford Escort, and she won. she won she won a Mark 1 Ford Escort, and my mother had never had a driver's license. She never drove in her whole life. So the first car I remember us having as a family was the Mark 1 Ford Escort. Then there's a picture of me with a Vauxhall Viva, which my father had next, which was a disaster zone. The car was broke down all the time. And then one day he disappeared with this car, the Vauxhall Viva, and came back in a Renault 12, which had a Formica interior. Do you remember the Formica stuff? The plastic that creaked all the time. He bought one of those, and he held on to that for about a year and a half, something like that. And then he went off one day and came back and said that, what do you think of the new car? And we all looked out the window. It was beige. It was a beige Renault 12, the same as he always had a Renault 12. So we went out to have a look at this new car. It was the same car, 2 years younger. That's all. That's all that happened. We all went, oh, nice. He jumped by something else. So he ended up 2 Renault 12s. Then he died in 1985 and left that car to my brother, the Renault 12. So not really from a car family, if I'm honest. My brothers had cars. My brother had a Renault 21. He had a Renault 19. Tony had a Hillman Avenger, which had a wheel that came off while we were driving along one day. It just rolled off by us, driving on the road. Pat didn't own a car. Pat died last year, but Pat didn't own a car till he was much more mature. He owned his own house now. He was in transport. He bought a Carina or an Avensis or something. And John always owned something, a Triumph Acclaim. He had a Toyota Corolla. He had various cars over the years. I think he drives a Skoda Karoq now. I think that's what I told him to buy. Maybe I could be wrong there. Patrick Doorley has supported the channel in a super chat. Super chat is lovely. Thank you very much, Patrick. That's very good for a Wednesday. This is a great start to a Wednesday. Bob, Dave Hall, is there any way of finding out where my old TR6 is? It's still on the road. Where in the world she is? Reg 1007PW. The problem is they don't index those old regs, so you can't kind of go to Motor Check or CarZone or not CarZone. What's the other one called? I think it's Motor Check is the one I've used most often. There's a few, Cartel and something else. You can just stick in a reg plate and you can actually see if the car still has a tax and insurance and stuff, whether it's still on the road. I don't think they reg up or they index all those, but you might get in touch with the lads from Motor Check who might be able to help you out and tell them I sent you. I have a good little relationship there, so just contact motorcheck.ie, hit the contact us joke, or even hit them up on Twitter or Facebook or something and ask them and just say they might be able to find, at least get you started in the right direction of where to find your car, how to go about finding out if your car still exists, especially if you want to buy it back. Only saw the notification now. Great to have this during the week. See, the notifications on YouTube are shite at the moment. I have to say, YouTube is just a joke. People go live and nobody gets notification for ages. This happens to me every day as well. I do the Joe Wicks workout every single morning at 9 o'clock. But like he has to leave it run. He starts the live stream and he stays and waits for like 4 or 5 minutes to let people fill in. And the notifications just aren't working. Mr. Tracy, hi Bob, I've just serviced my Jaguar XF. It cost just £80 with a discount from Euro Car Parts. What's your take on DIY servicing? I love DIY servicing. I'm a big fan. I'm also a big fan of keeping garages open. And when it requires a lift or requires something to get it off the ground, I tend to go to a garage and let the lads do with it. Because I don't really, on my own, I have a couple of axle stands, but you still have to be so careful when you're going to climb under a car. And then on a lift, it's just so much easier. You lift the car up, you get under, you bring the lift down, you can see everything in a blink of an eye. It's lovely. But for 80 quid for servicing your own car, mine's about the same, about 75 to 80 euro to service my own, say, like on here at home. That's all the filters and the oil. So that's not just the air filter or something, that's everything. It's the pollen filter, the air filter, the oil filter, the actual oil to put in it as well. Leave a little spare oil as well, you get a little extra. That's also checking every connection, filling up your screen wash. It's doing the whole lot. That's 80 quid, so that's definitely worth it. Jaguar XF's a 9. Never worked on a Jaguar XF. Don't know what it's like to be under the bonnet. Eric Watford, like the 205, but I think it spent 9k on something else though. I'd love that, but that is saucy money now. 9k is a bit much for that. It's a rare car, don't get me wrong, it's very rare, but rarer still is a 1.8. If you could get a 1.8 GTI, it'd be a 1.8 GTI Peugeot 205 can do 70 odd miles an hour in first gear, pretty much, just about screaming at that point, but it'll do it alright. We should all phone up your man and take the 205 for a spin. Never thought of phone numbers. Well, phone numbers on the internet, it's public knowledge. Have you ever driven any tractors? I have. I've driven tractors. I've driven tractors with the hand stuff. I've driven tractors with foot things. I've actually been in a tractor that does a GPS navigation thing. Very modern. It moves about the field on its own. You just kind of sit there and mind it so you don't run over anybody. But other than that, it basically plows the field all on its lonesome. So I've done them as well. I'm crap at reversing trailers. I have to say, reversing trailer is a bloody nightmare. But I can do it when I really like left hand down, right hand down stuff. I want to do that part. Blessed Lion. What's your opinion on the reliability of VW Tiguan? Like any other car, depends on how it's treated. If you look after it, it tends to look after you a bit better, like all cars. Some cars, you can be unlucky. You know, a car that's made on a Friday at 4:30 when everyone else wants to go home and it's just the last thing to go onto the car. Some of those cars, you just have that car. It's Friday car. It's just the last car, the first car made on a Monday morning after major hangover morning. You can be unlucky, but very unlikely these days. With the tolerances and the tests and stuff, very unlikely. But if you treat a car badly, poorly, you rev the bones out the whole time, you don't service it for 3 years, you don't lift the bonnet until it needs something really badly, chances are it's going to go wrong because it's just not being minded. So it depends on how it's treated. Dominic Gavin. Hi Bob, what's the worst car you've ever driven? What's your favourite? And what car from the past would you like to have a spin in? Worst car I've driven recently is SsangYong Rodius or Nissan Tida or the Hyundai Ioniq, the electric one. The current model of that one is a terrible car to drive. Just boring, just like driving through muck and water, rain and stuff, you know. There's a good number of other cars that are terrible bad. An automatic Micra from about 99 has a 3-speed box in it, and I tell you, it wouldn't pull you out of bed. It's terrible yoke, but served a purpose for cities, I suppose. What's my favourite car at the moment is the Passat outside the door, a Skoda Superb Estate, just a standard diesel one, or the PHEV one, which I will have as soon as this lockdown finishes. What else is there? Very favourite. A VW California, absolutely adore that yoke. It's brilliant. It's a car, it's a van, it's a camper van, it's a bed, it's everything. Sleep 4, it's got a kitchen. It's amazing yoke. Very expensive, but worth every penny. What car from the past would love a spin in? A well-tuned Ford Capri, like a good one, not a crappy one. Preferably with a manual choke in it. Just because I like that smell that a manual choke puts out is lovely. What other car that I haven't had a spin in that I would like a spin in? Something like a midget, an MG midget or something. One of those little tiny cars that was put out in Britain. That still drive around in, you know, those kind of little small cars that are out there, really good. Peter's here. Hi Bob, everything okay? What's the most disappointing car you've ever driven? Disappointing? I mean, you're building up to being disappointing. There's not many because I go into every car, like the newer cars, you go in hating them to begin with. It has to impress me from the start. There was a lot of, I tell you what was a disappointing car was the Model S from Tesla. There was such a hype around these Model S. I had such high expectations of how this car was going to change the world and be the best driver's car, and it's a sports car, it's a coupe, it's a 4-door, it's a beautiful thing. And I got in and went, yeah, okay, that big iPad thing in the middle is deadly, but it drives weird. And I was just so disappointed by that. I like it, and I still like it, but it didn't live up to its hype. That was the problem with that Model S. Model 3 has kind of lived up to the hype, and Model X does. Model X is, I'd like to buy a Model X for myself, just to have here. I think that would be the one I'd probably buy. The family was so impressed by it. Everywhere you go, those doors announce you've arrived, and they're so clever, and it's just a big family car. Joe Lyons is typing in caps, no problem, sorry. Deadly Show, kids, says Richard Cullen, no problem. Nullian Sulo, I want to buy the new Ford Mondeo 2020. What do you think? No. It's dead. You're going to get stuck with it forever. Don't buy it. Mondeo's finished on the market. Ford are in all kinds of trouble at the moment. The PHEV one has a big lump in the boot. You're never going to fit anything into it anyway. And it's like an afterthought. It's like a prototype or something. It doesn't make any sense at all. I wouldn't touch at the moment. Mondeo, I would stay away from it. It's cancelled in every other market. I'd just be very nervous of guiding you towards a Mondeo and finding out in 3 months' time that it is gone off the market. It's gone from America. It's pretty much finished production here as well. So whether they're going to have another model of it or ever change it again, who knows? Be careful with that one. Lee Maher, growing up, I was always embarrassed by my parents' cars, series of Renault cars, then a canary yellow Triumph Dolomite. Dolomite was a good old car. Underpowered, but a good car. And a brown Austin Allegro. Now that's embarrassing. Eventually I got a red Ford Cortina Mark V. I was so proud. Cortina's a brilliant car. So Father Ted, of course, had a... Was that a Cortina or a Granada? Anyway, whatever he had was that kind of Cortina as well. But my brother had two Cortinas. One, the passenger door handle would just come off in your hand. It wasn't connected to anything. Just you pull it. Sometimes it opened the door. Then other times you just go clunk and it come out in your hand. Stupid car. That was a Cortina as well. Really badly made, some of them Cortinas. They were terribly made. Some of them were made here in Ireland into the 80s. Phil H. There was a factory in Cork, Ford factory. It was in Cork. Ford Ireland are still in Cork. They used to make cars. The problem was, if you knew somebody worked in a factory, you could coax them into giving you a leather interior or something, on your car. So, but the problem with that is that it wasn't on the sales docket. So you go to the dealership and you order yourself a nice Ford Capri or a Cortina or whatever it was, and it would come with leather seats. Now what's happening is the Ford Owners Club in the UK, who are collecting these cars, are discovering there's an awful lot of cars out there that have a completely different spec on the sheets than they have in the actual car, and that's because we're built here in Ireland and lads put in all the spare parts they could. Phil H. says Toyota and Lexus seem to have a love affair with the CVT gearbox. I see a parallel with Mazda's single-mindedness to prove a rotary engine is a good idea. Do you think they have a point? CVT has a good purpose to it. It's very light and very efficient, and you're not fixed into gear ratios. So CVT is constant variable transmission. It's able to change the transmission to suit the way you're driving. So if you floor it, it's able to hold that gear forever and just continue to give you power. And then when you let your foot off, it can get itself into whatever gear it's deciding to be in, which is the most efficient for that moment. That's where CVT wins. Against a normal, what we're used to over here, DSG from the automatic gearbox and stuff, that's where things change ever so slightly, because that is a fixed planetary gearbox that allows you to have 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 gears, but it actually changes them the way you change a manual. So it's pre-selecting. So when you're in 5th, it pre-selects 6th and 4th. It pre-selects both of those. That's how DSG works. And then depending on what you want is where it's going to shift. So it's almost seamless shifting. So you don't feel it, but at the same time, the problem with that is they're very heavy. Compared to a CVT, you're talking about maybe 50 kgs in the difference. CVT can be much more efficient at the end of it. Mazda and their single-mindedness on the rotary engine, they probably give up on that now, in fairness. Rotary engine is not going to work these days. Not when we're all looking for electric cars. Mazda is very far behind the curve on the electric stuff. It is coming, but they're very, very far behind. A very conservative Japanese movement on that. And of course, Japanese manufacturers now is in a state of emergency in Japan, so you're not going to get any cars moving out of Japan in the near future. Jared Ryan, hey Bob, what's your opinion about the VW ID3 and the suspect software issues? Have you any information on it? I'm a pre-booker and have ordered and delayed due to COVID-19, and understandably so. There's a couple of problems with VW ID3. One of them is that plastic dashboard. I suspect they're going to change that before the car gets loose, because that's the main complaint everybody has. Now, to your software issue, there is some kind of software massive problem. Now, whether it can be solved very quickly, I'm not sure. It's going to be. See, the problem is you're not talking about a mechanical engineering chap who's going to sit down with a spanner and fix something. This is a software dude who has to root through code and line after line after line to try and find out what is not working in the software. Now, I have it completely off the record. This could be completely wrong as well, that the problem is the charging system of the car, that it's not charging properly, and when it does charge, it's overcharging, undercharging. It's not giving the correct feedback right to the owner. It's using too much energy when it's driving. So it's the software that's controlling the connections between the batteries and the motors, and that is causing massive problems in the Volkswagen group. Not just Volkswagen, but Volkswagen group electric cars. They will solve it. They will definitely not release a car that's broken, because that would be the end of Volkswagen. You can imagine it. If everybody's ID3 all of a sudden had a software problem when they got it first, that would be it. That would be the end of everything to do with electric cars and Volkswagen. They'd never sell another car. So pre-booker, whether you should take your money back off again, you're not. What are you going to buy? Not everything is stopped from COVID-19. There's not a single thing going to move in the whole world in the very near future for a good couple of weeks. I predict at the moment kids won't go back to school till September, and we'll do some, in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks, we'll do some distant work. And by distant I mean, you know, some people who can go back to work and keep their distance from someone else will, but I can't foresee car companies be able to ramp up big deliveries in a very short space of time like that, particularly when there's big problems with the software. And of course all those software engineers now are sitting home not able to get at the cars. But it is, as far as I'm aware, entirely software issue related, and I wouldn't expect another ID3 on the road till very, very late this year, if even into 21 maybe, before we actually see them properly on the road. Alex Theodore says, I'm looking at estates for my next car. I have 3 that I'm looking at: Skoda Fabia, Soroka's estate, and the i30 estate. Which is best? I'm looking at. What do you mean by best? Do you mean best to drive, best to own? Is it the boot space? Is it, you know, that their best means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But out of those 2-3 cars you got there, the most roomy is going to be the Focus estate. It's gorgeous. i30 is going to be probably the worst to drive, but has a great warranty. 5 years unlimited mileage warranty is not to be sniffed at. And a Skoda Fabia is the most fun car, would probably be the smallest of the 3. And they can be pretty basic as well inside, but not bad. A bit plasticky for the Fabia. I like them, but I would only like them as a second car. Like my wife would like one. She drives 6,000 kilometers a year. She'd like a Fabia, and that would suit her. 1.4 to 1.6 litre is the problem you're going to have there. The Focus estate would be a problem to get in 1.6. You might get it in 1.4, but it'd be an older one. But as the one I choose out of your list, Alex, would be a Focus estate. Funny Ferrari, where did the iconic phrase "until next time, I will see you on the far side" come from, Bob? I don't know. Do you know what? I said it once in a video very early on, first year of this channel. I don't even remember what the bloody video was, but the first time I said it at the end of it, and I said, I'll see you on the far side, and someone commented on it, and I went, I should say that at the end of every video. Just say it, and keep saying it on every single video. And then it became a habit. Some of it comes from the idea of see you on the far side of whatever it is you're going through, or whatever it is I'm going through, wherever we are. I'll see you on the far side of this door, the far side of this mountain, the far side of this mental difficulty you're going through, the far side of whatever it is happening. So it's to give the idea, instead of say I'll see you tomorrow or I'll see you the next week or whatever, it's I'll see you whenever you get through whatever it is you're going through at the moment. That's where the far side part comes from me. I was also a major fan of the magazine, of the cartoon, The Far Side, or Far Side it was called. I think it's back in a website form. I was a huge fan of that in the 80s. We had books of it at home. I was absolutely amazed how much information could be contained in one cell from a cartoon. How fast and how funny that could be in just one single cell. So I was fascinated by that. So maybe some of it came from that, but mostly it just comes from the idea of just I'll see you the next time I see you, which is an easier way of saying it. It's just I'll see you on the far side. Until the next time just happens until the next video. That's all that is. There was no real thinking behind that one. Phil H, I bought the 205, was either 1.6 or 1.9 of these things. Oh, 1.9, yes. No, sorry, not 1.8. Sorry. It's 1.9. Have you seen the video on YouTube about the Mark 1 Ford Escort that has been found in a garage for 35 years with 900 miles of clock? It took it to Ford Heritage like it was new. Amazing. My God, that would be good. It'd be a great find, wouldn't it? Can you imagine pulling back someone's door somewhere in a garage and seeing something under a cover in the corner somewhere? That'd be amazing, honest to God. John Kelly, you're a very kind man. Thank you very much. Send a money by PayPal, which is listed down below, should you want to send something. It is only Wednesday, but you can if you like. You can join us on Sunday as well at 2 o'clock. And every Sunday morning, I release a podcast version of the Sunday service, which is 2 hours of a podcast to listen to. What I'm going to try and do this week is to string all of these little ones together into one great big podcast and put that out next week for you to listen to as well. It might end up being like 4 hours though. Maybe. We'll see. Robert Doyle, hi Bob and gang, how are you getting on? Rob is in the gaff. Good man, Robert Doyle, good to have you here. NQ, just motor checked, 1007 PW, no tax showing, finished up with 9 owners, white sports model. There you go. Somebody motor checked it for you. Gunnar Donegal, hi Bob. As a matter of interest, do all cars idle at 900 RPM? They idle where it's comfortable. Generally speaking, most cars will idle between 800 and 1000 RPM. It's kind of in between the two. 1000 is kind of a little bit high for a lot of cars, so about 850 to 900 is a better place for it to be. Most cars idle there because it's just below. If you imagine the pistons going up and down at a certain speed, that's what RPM is, the revolutions per minute of those pistons going up and down. So when they pop up and down to the top of it, the compression at the top has to compress harder the faster you go. So the more the RPM is happening, the faster that piston goes up and down, and the harder that compression happens. So at lower speed it can sound a bit weird. So generally most cars idle on their sound, which was the old way to do it, was just to listen to it and adjust the points to make the car idle at just a point where it sounds comfortable, where the engine's not vibrating, where the interior cabin is not vibrating. Vibrating is a killer on car. Vibrations is the one thing that will absolutely destroy a car slowly over time, but it will destroy it. Inspiron 55, named after a laptop. Even I know what that is. How likely is it that the government will bring in a car scrappage scheme to have now ailing dealerships up and running? Very unlikely. The government will be broke by what's happening right now. Make no mistake, we are in deep doo-doo. We have a perfectly functioning economy and perfectly into the doldrums of actual sales. That's what's really happening out there right now. The car companies or the government just don't have the money to fund a scrappage scheme, because to do it, you're going to have the cars that are over 10 years old. You're going to have to fund maybe $4,000 a car to make people come in. I mean, that's it. My car, as it stands, is 14 years old. It's probably worth maybe $4,000 as it stands right there, right now. It's a popular car. People will want it. And it's my car, I suppose, as well. So people will be able to ask me questions. I'll be able to tell them whether it's good or bad or indifferent. But whether the government can literally afford to put all that money on, and every scrappage scheme has cost a fortune. Yes, I know dealerships are in absolute doo-doo at the moment, but we're all in the same boat. It's not just car dealerships, not just the motor industry. It's all industries is having a problem. So once you bail out one, you got to bail them all out. Robert Doyle, do you think this generation of Ford Mondeo or the previous generation will become future classic? Generation 1 Ford Mondeo and Generation 2 Ford Mondeo will become perfect classics to collectible. If you go back to Top Gear, where they had the man in a van one, where they had a white Transit, Hammond had a little micro van, small little micro van, I can't remember what it was called, and James May had a great big panel van, a huge big yoke. They did a test to see who could get closest to the rear bumper of a Ford Mondeo. The Ford Mondeo they are driving in that one single shot is the only one to collect. If you want to collect one right now, get one of those in a probably 1.6 petrol, put it into the garage, leave it there for a few years, and I guarantee that's going to go up in price. That's going to be worth a fortune, that Ford Mondeo. Drives fantastic. I still don't know why we drive anything other than that Ford Mondeo. It's a brilliant car to drive. Nolan says, okay, no Mondeo, Focus or new Kuga. Go Focus. Focus is brand new, good car, nice to drive. If you like the look of it, I'm not very keen on liking the look of it, but you like the look of it, it's there. Irish Runner says, thoughts on the E208. Haven't driven it in Ireland. I mean, I have driven it overseas. It's affordable, I'll say that. The prices come out the other day. It looks very affordable. Wasn't it near 20 something grand, or was it 30 something grand? 33 grand or something I seen there. I can't remember what it was. It was on a press release the other day. I was only half paying attention to it. Sorry, Peugeot. But it looks affordable and it looks like a nice car, and it really does take bold colours very well, so like yellow or big bright blues or something. So it's a nice looking car, yeah. If they get it right and they get the deliveries on time, they're going to have a nice car in their hands for sure. But everything's obviously just grinding to a halt at the moment. Until I've driven in Ireland and actually seen the spec, pressed the buttons, played with the dials, I can't really gauge something from an international launch. It looks nice on international roads. We were down in Portugal for that launch. It was quite nice. Peter says, hi Bob, how did Honda go to pot? They were so good back in the day. Now, apart from the Civic Type R, they lost their way. Marketing, essentially marketing. They were out-marketed on every possible step of the way. That's the problem that Honda had. The Power of Dreams and all the stuff they did early on. Remember the car, the disassembled car and all that stuff? That was fabulous marketing. And then they took their foot off the gas back then and got comfortable and started to really push into the US market. Spent a lot of money on building their brand in the US and still do well in the US. But in Europe, they took their foot off the gas here completely. And because of that, a lot of the people who had no budgets now, so Honda Ireland just didn't have the budget to go out and start getting new dealerships, doing deals on the TV ads, doing, that cost a fortune, that stuff, and they didn't have the budget to do it. And so it's a very difficult place to set out to try and make ground on. Ask SsangYong currently, or Daihatsu, or any of those companies that have just, they tried and then they failed, and they try again, they fail again. It's just so hard to make way. You can't survive in this country as a car company selling 20, 30, 40 cars a year. You have to be selling hundreds to really exist here, to really exist in volume. And in like the entire Irish market for cars, brand new cars on a yearly basis, is the same as a Manchester dealership in the UK in a year. Our whole market is just Manchester. So once you start working out those kind of numbers, we're a very, very small market. So to get funding here to really make it sing, to make the car company stand out, you have to be shifting a lot of cars. Karen Rye suddenly doesn't like me very much, but that's okay. That's all right. I can live with that. It says more about you than me. But we're just going to ban you now. Just get rid of you, right? Karen Rye. Never heard you. Never had to read that name before, so I'll just remove you there. And good night. Very easy to make somebody a moderator by mistake. It's unusual, but yeah. Getting all the weirdos in now, so that's okay. It's the middle of the day. We're not used to this Wednesday one. It's very odd for a Wednesday, isn't it, for me to be here. Here we go. We're back up here where Karen Rye entered the fold. Robert, I was told by a now ex-Honda engineer that they were losing $3,000 or €3 on every Civic built in this country. No wonder they're closing the factory. You see, if you go by, how would I say this? If you go by volume, you can lose money on every unit because you're turning it over in the used car market. So you're washing it through. It's called a washout for a dealership. If anyone from a dealership is watching, I'm sorry, I'm giving away details here, but it's called a washout. So what happens is you've got a profit margin on the first car you sell, and that profit moves on to the next car you sell. And so if you made a profit of 1,000, and the next car you made a profit of 2,000, now you have a washout of 3,000, and then 4,000 on the next car, and then 5,000, and then the first straight deal. So the first time that car just goes out to the door, there's no trade-in, the washout takes place. So you could have a profit margin on the fifth car on a straight deal of 10 grand, and that's the washout. That goes to everybody in the chain. All the sellers of the chain will get a cut of that washout, and that's normal in a dealership. Now, car companies do something very similar with their cars. They sell by volume. So if they sell 400 cars, they get a discount, a bigger discount from the manufacturers to sell those 400 cars than they do if they sell 300 cars. So they get more and more and more if they just get the cars out there. So it's okay to sell your car at a loss as long as you sell enough of them that you get a bigger discount at the end of the year. So you make your money back in a long way. The object is just to shift units. That's the most important part. But $3,000 on every Honda does cost a fortune. Say it, we're doing something similar for a while. Bob, I've uploaded videos to my YouTube channel. If you get comments like wannabe YouTube friends, they're all in lowercase letters. There are spam comments, don't mind them, just heads up. Yeah, I get them every day. Every day. Great content, bro. And this little fist thing in the back. Oh man, bots. God love them. People just don't know how this works at all. Alan Thomas, Bob, what do you think of Ford's 7-year guarantee? Do you think they are as good as Kia's or Hyundai's? Yeah, I do. I mean, Ford dealerships have been around for a very long time. Very long time. And they used to manufacture cars. It'd be dead solid stuff. 7 years is a long time for a car. Now, what's the nuts and bolts on that? It's what I always ask. What is the nuts and bolts? So 7 years, when they say, warranty, I'll look after it. No problem. But will they look after it when it's something that wore out on you? When what is the point where they stop looking after you? I never really get a complaint about Hyundai. Never. Hardly anyone ever emails me to go, I had a terrible experience in a Hyundai dealership and the car was broken. I never hear that. I never heard about Kia. I never really heard about Skoda. You hear once in a while about Volkswagen, but more because they shift so many cars. The big problem there. And Ford. Ford would be another one I never really hear a whole lot about either. But you either hear the really bad story or the really good story with Ford. So you either hear the car just blew up and there's nothing I can do with it, or I've never had a trouble with this car. So if Ford can do a 7-year guarantee and it isn't mileage limited, and it isn't limited to something else. So if you sell it mid 7 years, the warranty ends. That's a bad one as well. You own it for 3 years, you trade it in, the warranty finishes immediately because you're the only first owner that can have the warranty. So it can be good, but look at the terms and conditions. Fafus 509 Mapping says, hey, I was just watching your Skoda US video. There you go. That's an older video. I had a beard there when I was over in the US. Lovely place. That woman that's in the video with the red hair had a back problem. She emailed me since. Actually, she was so surprised because the video popped up on her list of videos to watch. The woman who had a little back problem, she was saying she had lower back issues, and I was showing her the lumbar support in the car. I can't remember what her name was. She was lovely though. Very nice woman to talk to. Her husband was there as well. That was on the side of a road in Washington DC, not far from the White House. We were getting a cup of coffee up the way. And we thought we'd just take over that corner, which you did. What do you think of the Skoda room, sir? Lovely. I love it. It's odd, really weird. Don't buy the smaller diesel engine if you're looking at the older ones. Don't go near it. It's very thirsty because it's such a small little engine, no turbo. It's very thirsty. The petrol ones are great. Tons of room in the car. Really odd sort of Lancia Delta front door. It's just an odd car. I really like them. But then Skoda don't do those kind of oddball stuff anymore. They do normal cars now. Lee Marr, I have 152 Ford Mondeo 2-litre diesel power shift. Love Mondeos, always prefer them over Passats. Do you think I should get rid of it while it's still worth a few bob considering the Mondeo is dead? It will be time. 152 162 172 182 192. You're going up on the 5-year mark, Liam. Yes. You have, this is the problem. So if you get rid of things in 3 years, you suffer the kind of least depreciation. If you get rid of things in 5 years, where do you go? You're at a break point where it's not really going to lose a whole lot more money. If it was 7 years old, it still wouldn't be worth a lot less than it will be at 5 years old once you keep the mileage under control. And it's a good car. Power shift cars are lovely cars, really as good, if not even slightly better than DSG. In the Passats, the power shift is always good. Not good in Australia, but good over here in this part of the world. Mondeos are a lovely car, very good. Would you hold on for another 2 years? Would you get another 2 years out of it and then trade it in or something? Because you're really not going to lose a whole lot more money now from 5 years onwards once you keep it in good condition. But like, what are you going to trade to? What's out there? Electric cars? How much mileage do you do per year? It's 2-litre diesel you probably do 800, 900 kilometres in that yoke in a blink of an eye. You're not going to do that in electric cars, not by a long way. They're FAFs underneath degrees as well. Love Mondeo's awesome. Don't sell it. GP O'Rourke. So I'm just checking my emails here to make sure I'm not missing out on anybody. I'll get back to doing another search in a second. GP O'Rourke says, hi Bob, even though you can't go anywhere, could you start your car every now and then, a petrol 1.8 car, or is it old wives' tale? You should start. Yes, absolutely you should. So over time what happens is all of the things that lubricate your engine up into the cylinders, so everything that goes into the cylinders and the pistons, all that lubrication slowly but surely drips away into the oil pan on the bottom, and you're left with a thinner and thinner coating on the inside till eventually what happens is the pistons seal. They won't go up and down anymore. They won't move. You have to lubricate them. You take the head off and lubricate the whole lot of the inside before you start it again. That will be years now standing still. But at the same time, starting it every once in a while, running it till it's warm is going to do no harm to it whatsoever. It will only help it. It keeps the car in one particular place, but you should drive it anyway. Just take it out for a little spin, rev it up. Don't worry about it. If it's going to break, it's going to break at high revs, but it's also going to break over time anyway. So. But yeah, you shouldn't leave your car standing still forever. Certainly if you're going to leave it standing still for the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks because of the coronavirus thing, you should definitely drive it up and down your driveway, go out on the road, stay within 2 kilometres of the house and have a little drive around. It'll be fine. Don't worry. It'll be alright. You're not spreading the virus by driving your bleeding car up the town and back down again. Wolfpacks. Hello everyone. Kaylin here. How are you doing today in the days of coronavirus? I hope you're all doing fine and don't go inside. Don't go outside, you mean. But yes, nice. Outside, I mean. Phil H says the Mondeo ST200. That's a classic in the making. Absolutely. None left though. I very, very, very much doubt that we will find any Mondeo STs on our search here. Hold on a second. We're going to have a look now. Let's go back to search results. Oh no, not back to search results. Go back to used cars. You mad joke. Right. Fords. How many Fords are on this system? A, B, C, D. There's 6 Ferraris. Let's look what the 6 Ferraris are for the crack. Go on. Which 6 Ferraris are there? A 360, yeah, 458 predictable, 599 predictable, 458 Italia, yeah, 488 GTB. They're all very predictable, aren't they? Very predictable Ferraris. Like, I don't like Ferraris, but anyway, that's just me, maybe. I like what they do. I don't like what Ferraris are. 5,631 Fords. Mondeo. I'm not good. There are 625 Mondeos. And you can't refine it any further to find the ST version of it. But it's unlikely we're going to see any STs. Look at the prices. 1.6 Z-Tech is 1,250 for 2008. Look at that one there. Look. That's a bargain. Like, that's a bargain. With dealers, funny enough. Look at the prices. They're so reasonably priced. Look at that one. Ah, there's my baby. Look at that yoke now. That is gorgeous. Ford Mondeo 1.8 LX steel, 110 PS. Not bad. 1.8 silver. Look at that lovely dashboard and great interior. That's the Mondeo on top of it. That's the collector's item right there. Just a standard old Mondeo. Just a collector's. A great car to drive. You look like a cop driving on the place as well. Big boot. Electric front windows, but no electric rear windows. There's and windy windows in the back. It is a window winder. There's a window winder there. I see the window winder. It's down there in the bottom corner. Window winders on it. That's a good looking car, isn't it? It's not bad. 36 miles per gallon, 39 miles per gallon, 118 miles per hour. Yeah, right, sure. 110 brake horsepower. So 136,000 miles and 1750. Lads, that's for nothing. That is for nothing. Why would you buy anything else? I know that sounds really poor thing to say, but why would you buy anything else? Like, do that thing. Robert Doyle, about the Mark II Mondeo on Top Gear. My dad had that in 1.8 petrol. He said it was the very best car I ever had bought. Telling you, it is a collector's item. Without a shadow of a doubt, that's going to be the one to have. Oh my god, all of the weirdos are out today. What is going on? Wolfpacks. No, don't mind. There's a shadow now. $2 German Shepherds. 2 websites called Winter, Summer, Spring, and Autumn. Right. The freaks have arrived. My favourite song is Lady Arabella. I'm leaving for. My god. Afternoon, everybody. Zdenko's here. Would you buy a car with a tow hitch, Bob? Only if I could get underneath and see around underneath it. Not too much stress on it. If there's a lot of stress on a car, I'd be worried about, when you're out looking at your man's car and you see the tow hitch, have a look around the garden and see has he got like cows or something, because he could be towing a ton of stuff with that car, and you may not even notice. So it's a really difficult place to be for that one, that's for sure. We get rid of you. This is where it's all hiding on the channel. Get rid of that one. I don't know what that says. All the freaks have appeared. Hide. You're crazy about Mondeos, Bob? Not really. Just Mondeos come up today. It's just one of those things that's appeared now, and we're talking about it. My name is Zyler Gilbert, and I like your videos. That's good. Glad. We call manual window winders hydraulic. Do you? Hydraulic? Nothing hydraulic about the window winders. There isn't really. It's literally just a set of cogs that move cords, and the cords lift the window up and down. It's actually really straightforward. But back in the 80s, these things would regularly fall in to the window and it wouldn't work. Aha, Andy McAfee has landed and has caught one of these midweek wonders finally. That's good. There's a lot of weirdos today, Andy. We're absolutely being inundated with the freaks of the world for some reason. Not saying you're all freaks, but some of you are. Just so you know. We'll have another search for a different car. Let's have a look. Go back up and have one little more search, and then I'm going to go and lie down and not do any more work for a while. Why is that loading like that? Don't load like that. Just go back to used cars, you clown. Let's have a look at some classics. See if we can find anything nice on a classic car. I like also, by the way, Cars Ireland. If anyone's there from Cars Ireland, whether it be Sinead or not, I like that it comes up with the viewed. See viewed written right there? That's very good. It says viewed. It's a cookie, obviously, on your computer, but it's quite nice to see. There's an Austin Allegro. We're talking about them today already. Look at that heap of junk. That would literally break your hole to get that thing running. Honest to God. Those cars were about as reliable now as a dig in the face. There's a Vauxhall Vectra. Look at the Saab 900 convertible. God, look, $4,500. Do you know, that's very tempting. That's very tempting. There's a Talbot Horizon. That is basically a Nissan Sunny. Lots of different things. There was lots of different cars. A Fiat 126. A good engine on that. Actually, it would go for a long time once you learn how to fix them. They're quite a nice little car to drive. Triumph Spitfire, one of my all-time favourite looking and sounding cars. Gorgeous, $4,500. Lovely car, but it does leak a lot and has problems with hydraulics and things inside as well. Next page. I have 2 or 3 more. Look, Triumph Toledo. I remember growing up around these jokes. None had a Triumph Toledo for years. Citroen 2CV. Oh, look, there's a van one. That's unusual. Oh, 2-door pickup. That is an unusual car now. That is oddball. 83. It's wood on the back as well. That's a weird looking car. I have to say, it's weird. I wouldn't be bothered with it because it's 2-door, which would be 2-seat as well. So I had no interest in that. Ford Escort, good one. That one weird in a 2-tone, mind you. A Golf CL. There is a car that is a dog of a yoke. Absolutely horrible thing to drive. That CL, that old CL one. Very economical, but a dog of a yoke. There's a good car. That is nice. Wrong engine. 1.6 for Ford, or typical Ireland. But there was a 1.8 that was gorgeous, and the 2-litre petrol was absolutely beautiful. There is one of the most phenomenal underrated cars of all time. Mercedes-Benz 190 2-litre diesel. That thing will go on the smell of fuel, but you could also stick in chip fat into that yoke and it would still burn that as well, just for the crack. Like, you put whatever you wanted in it. Fine. Bland as all hell, but gorgeous thing to drive. Any interior shots? No, not a single interior. Engine's a bit rough looking, not clean, but that's not too bad. I can deliver that. Any other good cars we can see here? There's a Saab 900. Now, that's a collector's item there in the front. Kept in good shape, that's a good collector's item. Good looking car. Solid. Aero one did better. That engine is rough enough now. Look underneath there. You see that? That's the fuse box. It looks like there. And there's an Audi 100 in the background of that shot. Look at that. It's canted to one side and everything. That thing would drive beautifully. Oh man, that is a good looking car. A couple of other Saabs in his yard as well. You know, there's a lot of classic cars hanging around there. So this person probably knows what they're doing with classic cars. Always worth a look as well. See in the background of the pictures. There's that yellow truck again. This Donegal dealer might be worth a visit. Looks like a manual, but the manual and automatic gear stick was always the same in these jokes. What is it? Manual. It is a manual, yeah. 2-litre petrol, 305,000 kilometres on it, which is not that bad. 189,000 miles. I would expect that. These Saabs tend to have very high mileage on them. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Back to this screen. Oh my god, look at all the freaking stuff's going on. So much spammy, spam. No hydraulic. On the tow bar thing, defo checked for rear shock, calipers, bushes and bearings used to reverse the boats into the water. That's true as well. Yeah, I forgot about that. Especially if it's any sort of 4x4. Watch for those boats being reversed into water. My favourite TV show is the... Oh my god. I'm going to ban you. Just because you're all so annoying. Go away. Ocean Froggy, Bob, have you got a BEV for the family? No, sure, I'm the same as you guys. I can't move us out the door either, and nobody can come here, so I can't get any cars. I still have my big... I'm not complaining, by the way, my big Passados out the door. Bob, I should have get my car serviced in February, didn't get it done, and can't now. Petrol 181. How long is it safe to leave for only 34,000? If there's no lights in the dashboard and nothing sounds weird, don't worry about it. You can drive on, you'll be fine. Generally, servicing is done once a year. You won't be doing too much mileage over the next while, and dealerships, if a dealership doesn't extend your warranty on that car, you know, if they don't take this as a pause in the warranty and continue on where they left off, then, you know, let me know and I'll get on to that Robert Doyle 151 watching, 157 at the moment. Yeah, try to look for Citroen DS. Citroen DS. Hold on, let's see if I can find one. Give me a sec. Is it? I'll say Cars Ireland. I'm going to text Sinead. Her search engine's not deadly. Clunky. It's kind of clunky or something. Anyway, Citroen. Is there a DS? There's 4 DSs. Hold on. I'm going to flick over the OBS again. I'll see what I'm doing. Here we go. So DS. Search. There's 4 DSs on Cars Ireland. Is there any of them that are worth a look? That is not a DS. Just not really. That is a DS. So there's 1 DS. These are not DSs. These are just Citroens that have the DS badge. This is an actual DS. 16,950. And the hydraulics look okay because it's standing up straight, which is unusual. He has it on grass though. You know, I always worry about this because sometimes there's lumps and bumps in the grass. You park it right and it looks level, and it might not be level because these had hydraulic suspension, which anyone who's old enough to remember these when they were new on the road, when you park it, it actually sat down. So it depressed. It kind of got lower to the ground. You started it up and it would lift up on the back then when you got started. That looks very clean though. Look at that teardrop design. It's just amazing. The design factor. Cornering headlamps. I don't think it's on this one, but it was a normal feature to have cornering headlamps and hydraulic suspension. Look at this plush seats. Oh wow, that's a brand new interior and that absolutely phenomenal looking. Beautiful. We like driving in an armchair. ZV license plate as well. Looks gorgeous. Have to say, any details. Sold new in Norway, it says here. 4-speed, which is pretty good. 1970. Solid throughout. Manufactured in 1969 and first registered in Norway in July 1970. I'm reading that from here, by the way. Just there. Rust proof and new. I like when it's having a bit of a history attached to it. He's got a full history there. That's pretty good. High-res photos are on Flickr. View in Dublin, 40 minutes away from Dublin Airport. This looks like a private dealership to me. Private David Golding cars. Yeah, silver. Saloon, manual 4, 56 quid a year to tax it. 140,000 kilometres on the clock. You would need to be pretty good at looking after cars to make that work properly for you, by the way, because those can get very expensive very quickly if they go wrong. But they don't very often go wrong, but they do go wrong sometimes. What app are you using to broadcast the screen sharing? It is OBS. So OBS is free software. You can get it off obs.com or something it is. It's free. You need a degree in engineering to figure out how to make it work. And once you figure it out, it's really easy. I use OBS the whole time. What it does is it allows me to be able to flip screens and show the screen and back and forward between the 2 screens, and I can split screen. I can pull in a Skype call. I can do all sorts of stuff in OBS, and it's entirely open software. So it's worth spending your time. I spent the last 4 or 5 days, last years, using it just myself. But last 4 or 5 days, I've just analysed it to bits to try and drive it as hard as I can, and it really does work. It's very good. Alan Thomas, Bob, what do you think of the Lancias? I watched Top Gear a couple of years videos, and Jeremy's absolutely mad about them. I'm too young to know anything about them. Lancias are good. Lancias are desperately unreliable. They break down, they rust, they fall apart, they do everything that could be possibly wrong with cars, but they're amazing to drive. They make all of the right noises. The noise of a car, lads, really, really matters an awful lot. That's why electric cars, for me, still feel a bit dead, a bit lifeless, because there's no noise, there's no pantomime. It's here and then it's there, and it got there by just hoovering up the road. What is this voodoo flavin that you fit to show other screens and make your voice and mouth move at the same time? Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. I've literally spent the last 3 days absolutely tearing apart OBS software to make it work. OBS looks like, I'll flick over and I'll show you. It looks like this. So you're going to see millions and millions and millions of screens, but I see one screen. So I can go to studio mode. I can have 2 screens. I can set them up. I can change how we look. I can go to home screens. I can go to Skype. So I have another call on the left or the right there. Back into home. I can change my audio inputs. I can change the video input. I can bring in photographs if I want to as well and put them up on the screen. Just change here what I want is a scene, NDI source where you get Skype from. So you can change things like bring in an image slideshow or media source, whatever. It's a brilliant program. It's totally free. It costs nothing online for you to have a go at it. Screen share. So I should have done that there. can bring in different screens and do stuff on it as well. It's a brilliant piece of software and it's completely free. Just say. Kitty DJ's Oh My God vlogs to make you smile, says hi. Hi Kitty. It's a pity Saab are out of production. They were brilliant cars. They've made some planes as well, Robert Doyle. Saab, the plane company, had nothing really to do with they were vaguely used to make planes many years ago, but they lived on the idea as they were a plane manufacturer. They used to have a night mode inside their cars and stuff for planes, but actually they had very little to do with planes. But they made some fantastic cars, even down to the last one. They made an enormous amount of cars out there. They were really, really good. Liking this should be a segment on a Sunday service. Look around classifieds. That's these are all ideas. See, when I have nothing to do, I come up with all these ideas to try and figure out ways of entertaining you guys to make sure we have a good audience. 184 people watching for a Wednesday, like that's pretty good. Sunday tends to attract for 5,000-6,000 people, so it's usually pretty good. And this Sunday will be busy because Marek will be promoting it on his channel, and I will have more guests on the Sunday service. I'm just going through a list of people that I want to invite. You know, like a wish list, and see who says yes, who says no, who won't answer me, or whatever it is, and then we'll try and figure out who's going to be on the show over time, because we can do it now, so you don't actually have to be here, so I don't have to travel to you, and you don't have to travel to me, so that's good, which means I can have guests from all over the world, essentially, and Marek is from Poland, so we'll be getting him in from Poland. What do you make of Fiat's current lineup, Bob? Very poor, in my opinion. No punto. Heavy reliant on the 500. A lot riding on the upcoming 500 electric. 500 electric is going to be a disaster. It's not going to sell a bean because it's entering into a market and it's not an electric car. It is essentially a compliance car. So essentially they've just ripped out the engine of a 500, changed a slight bit of change to the drivetrain underneath, changed the shocks in the back, put an electric motor in, put some batteries in it. Away you go. That's what Volkswagen did with the Up. Skoda did it with Citigo, and it took them all off the market because you can't get batteries. And even if you could, they're so expensive that nobody wants to buy a small city car that's electric. So Honda can't make their little Honda electric car work either. Make it at a price that anybody wants to spend money on it. Why would you? The amount of money you spend on these cars, you could buy a bloody bus, and run a bus system. So it's very hard for car companies to do what they're trying to do, and Fiat have no good leadership. They haven't had somebody at the head of the Fiat company and family to really drive it forward the way it should be driven. Right now it's just limping along, waiting for someone to buy them out, as far as I can see. It's hard to say where they're going to be. Fiat Ireland for sure has major issues, just major problems, because the big property, very hard to get people to work there. No one wants to move from Volkswagen or Audi into Fiat. Think about it. Why would you move like that? Why would you go from one place like that to the other? So Fiat lineup at the moment is a 500. That's it. They killed the Panda, my favourite car of the whole list. They didn't know how to market it. They failed at that. It was the best car that they made in years, the Panda with the squircles. The Punto failed every single crash test on the market. And then you had the Tipo, which is a really good car, in a state, automatic, with a diesel engine. You'd never need another car. But marketing, again, nobody would touch a Fiat in the country. Damien Allery, well done, Bob. Great stuff as usual. I want a Raptor after watching your review. There's lots of better chance of me catching COVID-19 than affording one of them. Give it a good work. Raptor's a gorgeous car. Still my favourite. Very expensive, but one of my favourite cars I've driven in the last couple of years. And the trip that I was on as well, down to Morocco with that car, amazing, amazing car. Really tried to murder the thing. Thanks for tip on OBS. Does it also handle the YouTube live broadcast? It does. You still have to go into YouTube and click live and do all that stuff. But it broadcasts my cameras and mic directly to YouTube, and then YouTube just stream it out to you guys and they serve it up. But essentially the entire broadcast is run by OBS in the background. You can get a switching software for multicam if you want to do that as well. You can have inputs and interfaces from audio, from visuals, from multiple cameras. You can do all that sort of stuff in OBS. You can actually hook up a system just to press buttons. I didn't bother with the keyboard shortcuts. I could have done that with keyboard shortcuts, but I was doing it a second ago, but I just don't bother. I'm isolating in the gaffy in the box room. Yeah, just to get away. It's like the man cave now, lads. There's a whiteboard in front of me, big computer there. I have a bed here beside me. It's the man cave. This is what I've created for myself in here. All in kept under the guise of I'm working on something. Who remembers the Renault 5 GT Turbo Classic? Yes, I do. I've driven it. I drove a fully restored one on a track in the UK. I can't remember the name of the track. It wasn't a big track. One of those airport tracks. Anyway, drove that thing, and I was nearly deaf getting out of the car. Just about, pretty much. The sound of that car is like nothing else on earth. P.S. We expect to see that clapperboard used in anger now we know you have it. Oh yeah, clapperboard. They are. Might have to use it alright in the future. I have all kinds of stuff back there, you know. There's all tape decks and things and all kinds of crap back there. Just stuff you find, you know. Looking forward to Sunday service. Good show again. Cheers. Stay safe. You too, man. Look after yourself, Mario. Guys, don't forget to share and subscribe and like, says Tobor. Thanks, Tobor. Very good. Cheers, Bob. Outpaint some models. Models? What models? Looking forward to Sunday service. Hopefully we won't have too many of the crazies around. Plenty out there today. I see people are really that bored. It's okay. Half the mad stuff you see going up the screen, we see 10 times more than when we're sitting here. It's a very strange place to exist in. I love it. I love it. It's fine. People are crazy and they're trying to get attention for themselves. That's okay. I will be doing something else tomorrow. I don't know if I'll go live or I'll put out a video. I'll probably put out a video if I can. And I might take... What day is tomorrow? Thursday. Today, Wednesday. Yeah, Thursday. I'm on the radio in the morning, by the way. Midlands 103. If you want to listen in from 11:30, talking about cleaning your car for COVID-19, all that sort of stuff. That's on at 11:30. Midlands103.com is on the website, but you can catch it if you're actually in Ireland. You can get it on 103.2 or something on the FM. And then that's tomorrow, so I'll put out a video tomorrow, and then on Friday I might take the day off, not do anything, and on Saturday I'm cutting down probably a tree or something crazy, like, you know, Bear Grylls, and on Sunday is the Sunday service. Should be fine, it'll all go well, I'm sure. Anyway, thank you very much for watching again today, and until the next time, I will see you on the far side.